Hello and welcome to our review of the Go City Chicago Pass. For those not familiar with attraction passes, these nifty little products allow you to visit multiple attractions in a city, in this case Chicago, all for one set fee, which is often a lot lower than the individual purchase prices of the attractions. This can help you save a ton of money when visiting a city like Chicago, along with a few other benefits and perks. But as the old adage goes, if something sounds too good to be true, it usually is. So while on paper these passes seem like a great deal, how do they really work out in practice? We've used these passes all over the world, but on our recent trip to Chicago, we grabbed a pass and headed out into the city for some hardcore sightseeing, to see if the pass really lives up to the billing of seeing more and spending less. A bit of a holy grail in travel. There are two versions of this pass, the all-inclusive pass and the Explorer pass. With the all-inclusive, you choose the number of days you want the pass valid for, from 1, 2, 3 or 5 days, and then you can use the pass at as many attractions as you have time for during that period. These are consecutive calendar days, so once activated on the first day, the clock is running and the pass runs out at midnight on the last day. You cannot skip a day, and it's calendar days, not 24-hour periods, so if you activate at 5 PM, you'll not get as much use out of the pass as if you activate at 9 AM. The Explorer Pass works on number of attractions rather than days. You choose between 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 attractions, and then you can visit that number from the list of attractions. The time limit for this is 60 days, so you can visit things at a much more leisurely pace, but the savings can be a lot less, and we find most trips to Chicago are fairly short, but it does mean you can skip days where you do not have to visit any attractions. Especially useful if you have some other reason for visiting Chicago. Some attractions need to be pre-booked, but on the whole you do not choose which attractions you want to visit. You simply show up, scan the pass, and you are in. With that in mind, let's take a look at the attractions, as really the pass lives or dies by how good the attractions are. And the good news here is most of Chicago's top paid attractions are included on the list. Compared to some passes, this is a fairly short list, but there are around 56 choices and they are all big hitters. Both of Chicago's observation decks are included, the Field Museum, the Shed Aquarium, the Griffin Science and Industry Museum. There's a big bus tour around the city, several river and lake cruises, speedboat cruises, Navy Pier wheel and rides, several interesting walking tours and a whole heap more. It's a heck of a lineup. Really, most of the things you would want to pay to see are all included in the pass. There is one large exception however, and it's a big loss. The Art Institute of Chicago is missing, which is a big shame. This really is the best art museum in America, certainly as far as American art goes, and ranks pretty highly on a global level. It's not to be missed, so it's a big loss, but you can always visit separately. Other than that, the pass has just about everything you'd want to pay for. There is loads to see in the city that is free, but as far as paid attractions, the pass is pretty all-encompassing. Remember, you don't actually choose your attractions ahead of time. You simply pick the number of days you want, or the number of attractions you'd like to visit, and simply scan the pass when you're there to access the attraction. It's worth noting that the Art Institute of Chicago is included on the rival Chicago City Pass, so if you'd like to check that out instead, we'll leave a link in the description below. The pricing structure of the pass is tiered to try to get you to buy more days or attractions, as the passes become incrementally better value as the longer the duration or attractions you buy. The key identifier is the price per day or per attraction. You can see the one-day pass is really poor value, and you would have to pack a whole lot into that day to make back the $139. On a short trip like that, you would probably be better off with the Explorer Pass. There are also a few sticking prices where the value does not go up as much as it should, such as the 4 attraction and the 6 attraction pass, where the next one up is only a few dollars more. This means the 3 day, the 5 day, the 5 attraction and the 7 attraction pass are easily the best value options, with per day rates of $75 and $52 a day and per attraction rates of $34 to $29 per attraction, with attractions ranging from $25 to $65 each. You can see just how easily you will be able to save a lot of money. A couple of notes here though, with a 5-day pass, you're going to do a lot less per day as you simply can't keep up such a high rate of sightseeing, and you could even run out of attractions that you want to do. And with the Explorer Pass, using it on the lower priced attractions can be bad value. The listed prices are also pretty much top end. You could probably find vouchers and discounts to save some of this money anyway, but having the pass makes everything so much easier. Probably the best way to see how the pass works is for us to show you in practice, which we will do a little later in the video as we take the pass out for a test ride. But briefly, the pass is a digital product, although you can print it out if you like, which is essentially just a QR barcode that you scan at each attraction. You simply pull up the app on your phone, scan, and in you go. There are a few attractions that need pre-booking, but on the whole these are things like tours that you would expect need to be pre-booked. For the cruises and such like, you get to access the next available tour, which can be only a few minutes away, but at very busy times it can be quite a lot later, so it's worth having a plan on how you will spend that time in case there is a long wait for the next tour. We look at this later as we show you how the pass worked in the city. Overall, the pass is really simple to use and adds real flexibility to your trip. As the old adage goes, if it seems too good to be true, it usually is. However, we find this pass to be the real deal. There are a few limitations and you need to be flexible and adaptable in how you use the pass, but we saved a heap of cash and saw way more than we would have without one. The pass can really help plan out what you want to do in the city, giving you heaps of inspiration and structure. It also really helps with budgeting, with no nasty surprises when you get back home. We also found we saw loads of the city itself. As we journeyed around to the different attractions, it really opened up the city for us. On the downside, we did find ourselves a little bit in slavery to the pass. You feel inclined to do the attractions included to eke out maximum value of the pass. We still did loads of free stuff and had some amazing food and really explored the city, but the focus was on paid attractions on the pass. Some of the attractions had little quirks that you need to be aware of, such as the cruises, and we got let down by one of the walking tours. We also visited out of season and several attractions were closed or unavailable. If you're visiting peak season, this would not be a problem, but then you will have long queues to deal with. Overall, we found the pass to be about the same as booking separately in terms of ease of use and time saving. There really was very little in it, but as far as cost saving goes, well, let's get into that. The best way to show you how much you can save is to run through our trip. We were visiting over Halloween, so had one evening unavailable due to the Halstead Parade. Our 2-day pass cost us $170, actually a little bit less as we used a discount code which you will be able to find in the links in our description. And this would cover the 2 full days we were in the city. With the pass in hand, we formulated a plan and got ready to hit the city. However, this plan was blown apart by the unexpected snowstorms that hit the city on our first morning. This helped highlight the flexibility of the pass, but really threw a spanner in our plans. We had planned to do a big bus tour on day 1, but with the snow falling, that was obviously a terrible idea. Instead, we decided to have a museum day and headed along the lakefront trail on foot in the driving snow to reach the museum campus, scanning the pass to get into our first attraction, the Shed Aquarium. We love aquariums, we are avid divers and snorkelers and find aquatic life fascinating, so never miss the chance to visit a good aquarium, and the Shed is one of the best in the country. We have it 3rd place on our list of aquariums, link in the description, but it's up against some stiff competition. The main area is a huge oceanarium with dolphins, sea lions, otters, penguins and beluga whales, which is mightily impressive. Then there is a huge array of aquatic life on display in the rest of the museum, probably the most complete collection we have seen anywhere. We have links to full reviews of this attraction, and all the others that we have visited, in the description or click the card above. We had a really great time exploring before heading just next door to the second attraction, the Field Museum. There is always a little bit of conflict in us about seeing marine mammals in captivity, but the Shed do some amazing work for conservation to help offset this. Like the Shed, entry to the Field Museum was a simple case of scan the pass and in we go, the pass also granting us access to one of the extra paid exhibits. We chose bloodsuckers. The museum is one of the best collections of natural artefacts anywhere in the world and a direct rival to New York's Natural History Museum. We spent time exploring the horrible bloodsuckers exhibit filled with bitey things, the incredible Egyptian exhibit with a real tomb and heaps of mummies, the fantastically complete animal halls with just about every animal on the planet on display, or so it seemed, and finally the fossil halls filled with incredible ancient remnants, including Maximo the Titanosaur and Sue, the world's largest T-Rex. After a couple of hours here, we headed outside to head to our next attraction. And once again, the weather had thrown us a real curveball to really test the flexibility of the pass. Our next planned attraction was supposed to be the 360 Chicago at sunset, but with heavy snow now pummeling down and low cloud, visibility from the top would be next to zero. So we were a little lost as to what to do. We were a little museumed out and wanted to do something fun. In the end, we Ubered back into the city and just hit Cheesecake Factory for happy hour for a while we formulated the plan. During this time, something quite incredible happened. The snow had been falling in heavy flurries with the skies clearing in between for just a few minutes, but as sunset approached, a larger break in the storm occurred, and we jumped to the chance, scanned our pass and headed upstairs for a third attraction of the day, the 360 Chicago observation deck at the top of the John Hancock Tower. This really highlights how flexible the pass can be. Without the break in the weather, we would have been able to do something else, but leaving it to the last second meant we actually got to do our first choice and didn't risk losing out as we might have done if we had pre-booked. Nobody can accurately predict the weather nor control it, so it's great to have this sort of flexibility to your plans. We timed this just about perfectly. The sun was just setting as we got to the top and the distant storm clouds glowed in the evening light. The deck was awesome and we explored for a while, watching the sunset and grabbing some amazing shots. We then hung around as the sky coloured up and darkness fell, with the twinkling lights of the skyline coming alive. This was the end of the day as far as the pass goes, and we headed off to our Halloween celebrations. We could have done another attraction in the evening, but we were in town for the parade and that was a priority. As you can see from the running total, we were still down $54 after the first day, but we had an awful lot planned for today, and the first attraction would break us even. We should say at this point we had a Monsters and Mobsters walking tour booked for the evening. However, unfortunately they emailed us late last night and cancelled the tour. This was really disappointing. They offered us the chance to rebook, but we had no available time and had to miss out on this tour. One of the pitfalls of the pass. However, we were still hopeful that we would save quite a bit of money overall. After a leisurely morning, we headed to our first attraction, the Big Bus Tour. For this we just turned up at the nearest stop, scanned the pass with the driver, and got tickets to hop on and hop off all day long. These tours are incredibly touristy, but they're great fun and they really do get you out to see the best of the city. They're also really useful as a form of transport. They're not to be relied upon and won't take you anywhere directly. But if you treat them as a tour, stopping at all of the city's hotspots, they really are useful. You also get a full narrated tour to fill you in on facts and information about the city. After yesterday's snow, the sky was clear and bright and the city looked beautiful at the top of this open deck bus. For the first part of this tour, we didn't stay on long and hopped off at the first stop for our next attraction, the Sky Deck on top of the Willis Tower. The Sky Deck required us to pre-book our time slot. However, we did this the morning of and got the first available. If we had pre-booked, this would have been planned for yesterday and the snow would have ruined our plans, meaning we would have had to come here first to swap out our reservation time. With the pass, it was simple to just book the morning we wanted to come. Once at the Willis Tower, we again just scanned the pass and headed straight to the top. We love the Sky Deck. Like all the other attractions we visited using this pass, you can find a full review in the description below, but it offers some stunning views from its high vantage point, and the ledge gives you ample opportunity to have some real selfie fun and get some seriously enviable content for your socials. Heading back down the tower, we hopped back onto the bus and carried on with our tour of the city. The next part of the Big Bus Tour took us over to the museum campus and out to the Alder Planetarium. We could have hopped off at any of these, but we had visited the museums yesterday. Instead, we stayed on and headed over to the Navy Pier where we had some more attractions planned. This part of the tour did give us amazing views of the city though, especially from the Alder Planetarium where we got a beautiful look at the skyline. The Navy Pier was where we headed for our last attractions. We had planned a river and architecture cruise and a go on the iconic Ferris wheel. Booking onto the river cruise is a little complicated. You head to their booth, scan the pass, and they provide you tickets for the next available cruise. For us, this was only about a 30-minute wait, but it can be several hours at peak times. This is the same for most of the cruises and speedboat tours on the pass, so you need to have a plan to use up the time while you wait for the cruise. You can usually only book one of the cruises or speedboat tours each day of the pass, so check the small print there. Fortunately, there is plenty to do at Navy Pier, and the pass grants you access to most of it. We planned to do the Ferris wheel while we waited, but with such a short turnaround time, we didn't need to worry. We also noticed that as the season was wrapping up, a lot of the other options and speedboat tours were unavailable. This would have been frustrating if we were planning on doing those. The cruise itself was really rewarding. The Chicago River runs right through the heart of everything and is part of the very fabric of the city, so a leisurely cruise down this waterway is one of the best ways to see the city, the stunning buildings towering up either side. It was pretty awe-inspiring, and the commentary kept it all interesting and engaging. It was, however, seriously cold, and we regretted bringing only one pair of gloves. The river tour is around 75 minutes and takes you all the way up to Wolf Point and part way up both the north and south branches of the river, before depositing you back down at Navy Pier. Navy Pier was where George Ferris first invented the fairground attraction we now know as the Ferris wheel, so while this is a modern version, it's very fitting. The Centennial Wheel, as it's known, offers amazing views of the city from down here on the pier. We rode at a great time as the sky was just starting to colour up as sunset approached. With the pass, you get access to all of the pier's rides. However, we did not really have time for these, so we only counted the cost of the wheel in our calculations. This was the last attraction we used, and from here on in we did other things, mostly free. We won't go into those here, but you can check out our full vlog on how we spent our time in Chicago in the description below. Obviously, from a financial standpoint, the pass was well worth the money we paid. We saved over $123, but remember, that's each, so as a couple, it was just shy of $250 saved. That is not to be sniffed at. Think of what else you could spend that money on. That's a lot of deep dish pizza. We also used the 2-day pass, which is not as good value as the 3 and 5-day passes. For only a small further outlay, we could have had a whole day extra of attractions, and we would already have been in profit. Unfortunately, we were leaving tomorrow, so this was not an option. We also got let down by the Monsters and Mobsters walking tour, which would have added extra value to the pass. We had one evening where we could not use the pass due to the Halloween parade, and the snow had thrown all of our plans into disarray. In short, we felt we did pretty poorly with the pass. We use these types of pass all the time and can normally extract way more value out of them, but still, with all these issues, cancellations and weather interruptions, the pass still saved us $123. That's not bad for a bad performance. We feel with things falling into place better, that $123 would easily have been $170, and with an extra day, $230, $250 easily. These are big numbers and really show the potential of the pass. We found no real issues at all in the way the pass worked. Most attractions we visited, it was just a case of scanning the pass and getting straight in, with just the crews being a little finicky. We were very disappointed with the Mobs and Monsters walking tour, but it was the tour who cancelled, so regardless of how we booked, we would have had the same experience. It was just a shame, as we really wanted to do this tour. And at least with the pass we had the option to look for something else to do instead. Basically, if you take a look at the list of the attractions and find a good number of them are things you want to do, then you will have a great time with the pass. Just remember not to get too hung up with visiting attractions on the pass and take some time to really breathe in the amazing city of Chicago. That's all from this video. Remember to like and subscribe for loads more travel content. We have so much cool stuff coming up. And check out the links in the description for more detailed reviews of both the pass and all the attractions we did, along with a nice 10% discount if you do decide to purchase this pass. Thanks for watching.